Hey everybody, today we are at the Shawnee Indian Mission in Fairway, Kansas. That's just outside of Kansas City. And this was a trade school for Native American children. And it was built in 1839. And they have 3 buildings here and it's really, really cool. So let's go check it out. This is the back of the East Building, and there's a museum in there. Admission is $5 for adults and $1 for children, and they are open Wednesday through Saturday from 10 to 5, but the grounds are open from dusk until dawn, 7 days a week. And we're going to head in there and learn a little bit about the history of this mission and see what we can see. And then we're going to go explore the grounds and visit the other 2 buildings on the property. And if you want to skip this museum, I've added chapters. The bottom floor contains information about the mission as well as a film. The Shawnee Indian Mission was a manual trade school for Native American children between the ages of 6 and 23. It was begun by a Methodist minister by the name of Thomas Johnson in 1838. And this mission is in Kansas, and that's just a stone's throw from Missouri. At that time, Kansas was not even a territory. Boys learned skilled trades such as shoemaking, carpentry, blacksmithing, and wagon making, and it's my understanding that the shoes that were made here were very sought after due to their quality. All of them worked on the farm. They plowed fields, cut firewood, helped in the gardens and the dairy. The girls learned spinning, weaving, and sewing, and did kitchen and laundry chores, as well as helping with the cooking and the soap making. Lessons began at 9 a.m. and ended at 4 p.m. Boys and girls studied in separate classrooms, and they were grouped by ability, not age. They were taught reading, writing, spelling, penmanship, arithmetic, geography, and American history. School was Monday to Saturday. Students' lives were scheduled from the time they woke to the time they went to bed. They woke up at 5 a.m. to begin farm work, followed by breakfast and chores. School began at 9 with a break at noon for dinner. At 1 o'clock, studies resumed. Learning ended at 4, but not the work. Boys were sent into the fields to work, and the girls performed domestic duties. Supper was at 6, followed by homework at 7, and bedtime at 8:30. The school remained open until 1862. And at one time, this mission was 2,000 acres and had 3 large buildings and 13 smaller ones. And at its height, there were over 200 students enrolled. And of the 16 buildings, only the 3 larger ones survive. Okay, we're going to head upstairs to see a display about Thomas Johnson. And everything in this room was owned and used by the superintendents and teachers. Johnson was the first superintendent of this mission, and he and his wife had 13 children while they were here. He was a Southerner, and his family had moved to Missouri in the 1820s. Johnson owned about 6 slaves while he was at the mission, and that ended up being a big deal because when Kansas became a state in 1861, it entered the Union as a free state. Johnson signed a Union oath of allegiance and freed his slaves, but that was not because he had a change of heart, but because Southern sympathizers were looked down upon now in Kansas, and he would have lost his federal funding. So it was the almighty dollar and not the almighty heart that changed his mind. There were also many in the community who felt that Johnson was benefiting too greatly from the income of the mission. In addition to getting federal funding, he was also getting funding from the Episcopal Church, as well as the income from selling the goods that the Native American children were making, such as those shoes. In 1858, Johnson retired 2 miles east of Westport, where he lived through the Civil War. Johnson was murdered at his home in 1865, just months before the end of the Civil War, and no one knows why. Some have speculated that it was for money, and others that he supported the Union, or it could have been something completely different. We may never know. This museum has quite a few displays about Manifest Destiny and the westward movement on the 3 trails, and they have an excellent children's program here. Students can learn about Native Americans, the Santa Fe, Oregon, and California trails, as well as prairie life. And I thought that this was a really interesting setup for the kids to watch a film about the Santa Fe Trail. Isn't that cute? Then I found this map about the California, Oregon, and Santa Fe trails, and I had to push some buttons. So that is the Santa Fe trail in green, and the California and Oregon trail is in red. Take a look at that staircase that heads up into the attic. That is very interesting. And if we go off here to the right, that is the staircase down. But I want to go up. I want to go up in the attic. I want to see what's up there. I am just too nosy for my own good sometimes. Oh, look, this room, it's set up as a Civil War barracks. During the Civil War, these buildings were used to house Union soldiers periodically because by then the school was closed. You know, the Kansas City area has a bit of Civil War history here. The Battle of Westport was fought not too far from here, and there's also the Battle of Independence, the Battle of Lone Jack, the Battle of Island Mound, and the Battle of the Big Blue. And that is something that we have yet to delve into on this channel, the Civil War. We've talked a lot about Bleeding Kansas, but I think I will have to schedule a few Civil War site visits in the near future. Okay, let's head down the stairs and out into the grounds. But first, let's check out the age of this staircase. It is creaking, and look at that banister. Wow, that is very ornate, very beautiful. The Shawnee Indian Mission was purchased by the Kansas State Historical Society in 1927, and it has been on the National Register of Historic Places since 1966. And they have this really nice path to follow, and then there are a lot of gardens that they've got scattered around the property. And I have been wanting to visit this site for a very, very long time. Before I moved out into the country, I lived just down the road in a suburban town called Shawnee, and I never made it to this site. So I am super glad that I am here today. I'm gonna get off the path because I just don't see any other way to get up here. Wow, look at this place. I love old brick buildings that were built in like the 1820s to the 1840s. I don't know what it is about them, but they are my absolute favorite buildings in the whole wide world. Okay, so this was the East Building, and it says it was erected in 1840 to 1841. It provided a chapel and classrooms and living quarters for teachers, and Indian boys slept in the attic. The first territorial legislature met here in 1855 and enacted the so-called bogus laws in an attempt to perpetuate slavery in Kansas. And yeah, we learned all about the Constitution and the legislature and all of that before. I'll put some links right here if you're interested to learn how Kansas became a state. So cool. Like a little covered wagon out there. Well, let's just go check it out, shall we? So this would have been a wagon that you would have used on one of the trails, the Oregon, California, or the Santa Fe trail. It looks awful thin. I wonder if they were really this thin or if this is just the way this one is. Well, let's go see what it looks like on the inside. I'm sure they had all kinds of different wagons. That one doesn't seem to have very much room. So I can see why people didn't bring a bunch of stuff with them. Just the things that you needed to survive. Okay, let's get back on this path. Oh, and this is number 2. I don't know if there's a map that I have missed, but it's some sort of a creek and I want to get in it. It's beautiful. Look at this. Oh my. Look how clear that water is. Oh. And this is a spring-fed creek, and that's why the water is so clear. There were actually 3 springs on the property at one time, and I'm not really sure where the other 2 are or were. It's a little waterfall. See if we can get closer to it. I love creeks. Okay. All right, now this is the West building. I'm really digging this house because it reminds me of my favorite building in the whole world, and that is in Livingston County, Kentucky. That's in Western Kentucky, and that's where I grew up. And my mom used to take me over to Livingston County. It's right on the river, right on the Cumberland River. And she used to take me over there, and we'd sit in front of that building, and she would tell me all kinds of stories. And I just absolutely fell in love with that building, and that's where I fell in love with history. And this building reminds me so much of that house. Yeah, I swear I'm walking right up to that building in Livingston County, Kentucky. This is amazing. Oh, look at those stairs. Oh, it goes up to it. And this building's not open. And they don't want you going up there, clearly. And I'm not gonna tick off anybody. It's the last thing I need to do is tick off historical people. Can't see through that window. Let's see if we can. Oh, it's a private residence. Is it? That's what it says. Private residence. Well, there's a little bridge right over there. I don't know if you can see it. Yep, let's go check it out. It's a bridge over a creek. Look at this. Oh, wow. Creeks are magical. They really are. And clearly this goes over just to like a little park, probably. And at one point, this mission school had 2,000 acres. I don't know what they're down to now. It might be around 14 to 19. I'll find out. And I'm just going to stop us right here because I went in that field and back in a blink of an eye. But that is where the carpentry, blacksmith, and wagon shops were. And if we look at this map, we can definitely see them right there. Ah, there we go, coming up on the back of this building. Yeah, that's an amazing building. So we're gonna have to go find the marker, see when this was built. So the north building, which is just right over there, it's behind this building, it was built in, I believe, 1838 or 1839. So this building is probably somewhere around that age. Oh wow, yeah. Look at that. That is amazing. Okay, this says this is the West building, and it's actually the oldest of the three buildings. It was built in 1839, and it was used for classrooms and living quarters for superintendents and teachers. Territorial officials had offices and rooms here in 1854 to 1856. After the Kansas Territory was created and the first territorial election was held, Thomas Johnson, who was a superintendent here, won a seat, and he suggested that they use the mission as a meeting place. Oh, that is awesome. Let's go to this window over here so we can see. I don't know if you can see. Look at that fireplace and those built-in cupboards. I don't know if you can see them or not. It's really hard filming through windows, but these are pretty clean. And there's the north building. And that's the one I thought was the first building, but it's not. This is the first building. Let's see what this one looks like. Oh wow, look at the ceiling. It's collapsed. Oh, how cool. Oh. And I don't know if you can see, there's a staircase. You can barely see that staircase. Look how awesome that is. Okay. There's a well, not a well, but a window well. Pretty cool. All right. Oh, that is so beautiful. Okay. The legislature met for 50 days at the mission, and it was here that they started to pass the bogus pro-slavery laws, including laws that severely punished anyone freeing slaves or even speaking out against slavery. And that is what they called the bogus legislature, and that was because pro-slavery supporters flooded in from Missouri, and they refused to let the free state settlers in Kansas vote. And it was pretty much a landslide victory for the pro-slavery side. Free state abolitionists refused to acknowledge this legislature, therefore they called it the bogus legislature. And the first session was held in Pawnee, Kansas, which was over 100 miles away, and that's when Johnson offered the use of the mission. And they were only here from July to August of 1855. The House of Representatives met on the first floor of the East Building, and the council chamber met on the second floor. And some delegates boarded at the West Building, paying 25 cents for each good but simple meal. I'm just amazed. Let's go look in this window. Oh, look, there's some wild strawberries. Those are some big ones, too. You know, you can eat those. I'm not going to, but you can eat them. All right, let's look in this one. It's the same room that was the front room. Interesting. All right, that is the north building up there. And that building was almost lost because I believe it was in 1927 that the city or the state got a hold of this property, and it was nearly falling down, and it took quite a bit of money to restore it. Oh my. I'm blown away by this site. I don't know, this is fastly becoming my favorite site that we've been to. I mean, I liked Fort Scott a lot. That was very enjoyable for me. And I thought the Santa Fe ruts that we found a couple of weeks ago were amazing. But this, I don't know, it's doing something to my insides. I love it so. Okay, so this is the north building. It was erected in 1845. So a lot later than what I thought. So erected in 1845, this was a dormitory and school for the Indian girls. And here they were taught spinning, weaving, and other domestic arts. Andrew Reeder, who was the first territorial governor of Kansas, he had his executive offices here. I really do wish these were open, but they're not. Oh, that one looks like the stairs, like we can go up. All right, we'll do that, but let's just go check out the porch and see what we can see. I wonder if this place is haunted. It sure has that kind of creepy, creaky feel. Oh, wow. Okay, I don't think can we see in these windows? I don't think we can. No, they got shades pulled down. See, they have shades so you can't really see in. Oh, we're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to sneak in underneath the shades. No, no. Well, that's not quiet. I'm not sure what is in some more displays and stuff. Huh. There's one more window that we might be able to peek through. Nope, that one's completely blocked. Let's go up the stairs then, shall we? And I don't know if these sites are closed because of COVID, or if this is just the way they were before, or if they've lost some sort of funding where they can't have these buildings open. Seems like everywhere we go lately, the buildings are closed and things aren't fully functioning. Oh, this one's not blocked off. Oh, that looks like a classroom. Oh, that would have been really cool to go see. I don't know if you can see, but there's stairs right down there off to the left. And then the desks. So this window. Ah, again those damn screens. Well, there's a window. Huh, okay. I have to lean over, so I'm not gonna be able to see, I don't think, what's in there. I sure hope I can find out what these markers are. I've missed something somewhere. I hate it when that happens. I hate when that happens. And that happens a lot when I'm by myself. And I am by myself today. And it's okay because this is a very, very safe neighborhood. Oh, look, there's more windows for us to go look through. Let's do it. Can we see anything? Oh no, stinking screens. There's another one with a screen down. Hello, door. Screen. Oh, here's one that the screen is lifted a little bit. And it's so dirty I can't see. Don't know what that is. Oh well, that was a spider I think we just saw. Ooh, I see some silver up here. Yeah, look at that. All right. Yeah, there's a wasp right there. And I'm gonna have an anxiety attack, but I'm doing this. Okay, that's what we're getting with that. Do a wasp check. No wasps. And this is where I'll get stung. That looks like the entry hall, maybe. There's some displays. Oh, interesting. See, there's people walking. I mean, this is a very, very nice neighborhood. You can see people walking, there's cars everywhere. I mean, very, very, very cute houses. It's a very high-end part of Kansas City. And we're in what I call the city burbs. So not too far from the city, but not in the suburbs. Girls' dormitory, which is right there. Okay, and then across was there. It's our little cute building we love. And look, that's gone. That would be cute to see. The grist mill, blacksmith shop, and then there's the east building where the museum is. And we are right here. So in front of us, that would have all been farmland. Huh. Oh, and what's cool, it says the Santa Fe, California and Oregon trails passed along mission property half a mile north of here. Oh, and so you can kind of see them right there. There they are. Going west. Interesting. Oh, and here's a really cool map. So we're here, Westport. Yeah. And Westport Landing, that is actually downtown Kansas City, because that's what Kansas City started off being called, Westport Landing. And I do have a video on that. It was one of my earlier videos, so I don't know how great it is. Let's go see this other stuff. I don't know what this is. This looks like a tomb. This looks like a grave. But I bet it's not. I bet it's part of some sort of building. But whatever it is, it's number 7. So you guys, this is an incredible place. But I wanted to take a moment and stop and think about the flip side. So the children that came here, the majority of them were forcibly removed from their parents. And once they got here, their cultural identity, it was destroyed. They wouldn't let them wear their hair the way they wanted to. They couldn't wear their native dress. And they sure as hell couldn't use their native language. They were actually punished for doing that kind of stuff. And they were worked. So I believe they went to school 6 hours a day, and 5 hours of the day they were working. So the boys would have been working in the fields, and the girls would have been doing women things. And looking at this from 21st century eyes, we know it was a travesty. But back then, that was just the way of the world. And I'm not trying to be flippant about this. It really does bug me. And one of the displays in the museum sums it up best. Students came from diverse backgrounds. They did not all share a common language or native traditions. Some Native Americans accepted mission education as necessary for their children to live in a white world. Others resisted. Traditional Native American education did not take place in a classroom. Children were surrounded by an extended family who taught by word and action. Group cooperation was stressed, and it was unusual for children to be disciplined with threats or physical punishment. Training boys to be farmers and girls to be housewives sharply conflicted with traditional cultures. Many Indians complained that their children were nothing more than cheap labor for the mission. Mission life intended to change the way the children acted, and threats and physical punishments were administered. Like I said, children were put into American clothing, and they were forbidden to speak their native languages. And if they arrived without an American name, they were given one. Individual achievement and not group cooperation was praised. Well, I have really enjoyed this site. I don't know about you guys. I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed right along with me. I think the reason that I enjoyed it so much was because of this house. The house was really, that building, I keep calling it a house, the building, awesome. But anyway, I do hope that you learned something. I hope you enjoyed the video. And like always, I will see you guys next week. Bye now. For more information about Shawnee Indian Mission, visit www.shawneeindianmission.org.